10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
I like a good serial killer documentary. He hasn't taken the pounding that wide receivers take.
It's just a pound job, and guys are tired towards that 4 minutes.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I would be lying to you if I said I had not heard things. They're like a bad rash. You hear a lot of things. Some are true, some aren't.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. Got a good one tonight. Week 15. Week 15. Good grief. Of the National Football League. It's probably do or die for the San Francisco 49ers, right? Amidst all the injury problems for the 49ers, they're probably in a must-win tonight, a big division game against the Rams. Good Thursday night football ball game tonight. They'll kick off in about 15 minutes in the state of California. Rams and 49ers to kick off a very interesting Week 15 of the National Football League. And with that, a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we are that much closer to the Jaguars and the New York Jets this Sunday, 1 o'clock, Everbank Stadium. Got a lot of thoughts about that coming up here in just a moment, what that game might mean, what the outcome of that game might mean. We officially have Bill Belichick as the brand new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. That will take some getting used to. That will absolutely take some getting used to, saying that. But Bill Belichick, the brand new head coach of North Carolina. A little college basketball talk tonight. We haven't talked a lot of college hoops. Florida's been off all week. They're back on the court Saturday against Arizona State and then next week against North Carolina. So a couple of nice challenges for the Gators who find themselves in the top 10 for the first time, I believe, since Billy Donovan. The Gators back in the Associated Press top 10, coming in at number 9, a perfect 9-0 on the year. And we'll actually talk a little Gator basketball with Mark Wise of ESPN. He comes up later on in the 9 o'clock hour. We mentioned Bill Belichick. We will go to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Coming up in just a bit, David Sisk of Tar Heel Illustrated. That is the Rivals.com website covering the North Carolina Tar Heels. We'll get a scene set. What's it been like in Chapel Hill the last 24 hours now that Bill Belichick is the brand new head coach at North Carolina? And as we do every week here on Hacker After Dark, former Jaguar wide receiver, my buddy Cecil Shorts, joins me in less than 15 minutes. We'll talk Jaguars-Jets. We'll talk Bill Belichick. And we'll also talk a little Brian Thomas Jr. with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. So we're absolutely loaded. Jacksonville, we are with you until 10 o'clock tonight. As always, we are glad you are spending part of your Thursday evening with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right. This season for the Jacksonville Jaguars has been, well, it's been a nightmare, right? There's not a lot of sugarcoating it. If I would have told any of you back on Labor Day as we were getting ready for 2024 Jaguar football that when the New York Jets come to town on the second Sunday in December, third Sunday. On the third Sunday in December, that the Jaguars would be 3-10 and already eliminated from playoff contention. I'm willing to bet you would not have believed me. You would have said, nope, no way, no shape, no how. I would have been right there with you. I'm as stunned as you are that we are where we are. But now a quandary, ladies and gentlemen. You have a quandary here in Jacksonville. You have an interesting scenario for you, the hardworking men and women that call themselves fans of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I've heard from a lot of you this week. I don't care about the draft, Hacker. Don't care about the draft. I want to win some games. Whatever happens in the draft will happen. They usually blow top 10 picks anyway, so who cares? I want to win. Fair enough. I can't fault you for that. Track history. The record of this Jaguar team would tell you that they normally don't do very well with top 10 picks anyway. So I agree with you there. If you want to win some games and you don't care about the draft, well, I can't argue that. But here is the question. If you win some games down the stretch, does that mean that General Manager Trent Baalke and head coach Doug Peterson will be back? Will that sway Jaguar owner Shad Khan one way or the other, or is Shad Khan's mind already made up one way or the other? Now, conventional thinking, I think people wanting to believe this will tell you that both Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke are going to be shown the door at the end of the year. Start over from scratch. I think people want to believe that. I'm not so sure if that's reality, unfortunately. I don't know why this is the case. We've talked about it a lot over the last few weeks since the Jaguars were eliminated from the playoffs. But the loyalty that Shad Khan has shown some people here in Jacksonville has been a flaw of his. It is loyal to a fault. I don't know why he doesn't realize that. I don't know why he doesn't see that, but he doesn't. Shad Khan gave Dave Caldwell 3 contracts. He gave him 8 years here. That's nonsense, but that's what happened. Shad Khan gave Gus Bradley 4 years here. Love Gus Bradley. Nice guy. Love to have a beer with him, talk ball with him. Was a terrible head coach. Did not deserve 4 years here. Shad Khan kept Doug Marrone around too long, I think. And Shad Khan has absolutely kept Trent Baalke around too long. And I was wrong about that. I've fallen on that sword. I was wrong. I was a lot higher on Baalke this offseason. He's lost me this year. I think people want to believe there's going to be wholesale changes. Here's the problem. I don't know if that's reality. Jordan Schultz, NFL insider, Fox Sports, was on with Colin Cowherd earlier today talking about potential openings, and the Jacksonville job came up. And Chalk Jordan Schultz, one of the NFL League insiders, is a guy that believes Trent Baalke will return to Jacksonville in 2025.
I think Bill was right when he thought that Jacksonville could be a good job because the owner would allow you a lot of control. Now, I don't believe they're going to move on from Trent Baalke, the GM. I think they're going to keep him.
That's problematic for me.
That's a big problem. And a lot of teams don't understand that. But Trent has buddied up in a way that is commendable to Tony Khan and Shad Khan. He's indispensable to them. I don't think he's going to get fired. Doug Peterson will not be there after the year.
Well, there you go. Now, that's one guy's opinion, but Jordan Schultz is an NFL insider, Fox Sports. I certainly know who he is. A majority of you probably know who he is. He's in the know to an extent. And he used the term indispensable. Trent Baalke has become indispensable to Shad Khan and to Tony Khan. Why? Why? What has Trent Baalke done? I mean, honestly, what has he done? He hasn't won a lot of games as a GM. His win-loss record is awful. He's drafted Luke Fortner and Chad Muma and Brenton Strange and Mason Smith all within the first 3 rounds of the draft. I don't have to tell you that's not very good, at least on paper right now. I don't understand the loyalty that Shad Khan has to Trent Baalke. I would like for it to come out sometime as to why. Have it explained why. Because I don't get it. But it's Shad Khan's team. He can do whatever he wants. That's the perk, the privilege of being the owner of the football team. He doesn't have to explain anything to us, really. I'd like to hear it sometime. He doesn't have to say anything. It's his barbecue, man. We're all just visitors. He can do whatever he wants. And the more people you talk to, the more people you hear from, the more I am starting to believe that Trent Baalke has a better chance than not to be back here in 2025. I don't believe that for Doug Peterson. I think even Shad knows if you were to keep both of them, selling that to the fan base would be hard to do. Because you still have to sell tickets, right? You still need support of the fans. And if you bring both of them back, and you bring Press Taylor and Ryan Nielsen back, I wouldn't know what to tell you at that point. So maybe the justification for being able to keep Baalke is saying, well, you're going to clean house everybody else, but then you're going to give Trent Baalke, if you keep him, a 3rd draft pick inside the top 10 in 5 years. Is Trent Baalke going to head the charge to hire the next Jaguar coach? And if that's the case, you can say bye-bye to Ben Johnson. You can say bye-bye to Liam Cohen. All of these up-and-coming guys, they are not going to want to work for Trent Baalke. If Trent Baalke is here, you know who you're going to hire? You're going to hire either Bill O'Brien or Robert Saleh. Those are the two, I think. Either Bill O'Brien or Robert Saleh will be a Jaguar head coach if Trent Baalke is still here. Coaches that are hot, like Ben Johnson, are not going to come to work for Trent Baalke. They're just not. No way. And again, I don't understand why, what reasoning there would be, what evidence there is that he's done a good enough job that Trent Baalke would be a general manager with Urban Meyer, an assistant general manager with Doug Marrone, a general manager with Doug Peterson, and would now be getting his 3rd different head coach if he were to keep his job. I don't understand it. But again, maybe it's not my point to understand it. It's not your point to understand it. Maybe we're not supposed to understand it. But I'm telling you, start wrapping your mind around this, at least a little bit. I'm not saying it's 100% surefire. But start realizing that it might be wishful thinking. The more people that you talk to, the more I'm hearing that Trent Baalke may be back in 2025. And I'm curious what your thoughts would be on that. I have a feeling I know what your thoughts would be on that. But I'm curious. Hit me up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010, 641-1010. Jaguars and the Jets, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Everbank Stadium. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL Radio. Of course, we will have the 5th quarter for you 2 hours after the game on Sunday goes final. Let's talk to a former Jaguar, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jaguars. Let's talk Jaguars Jets. Let's talk Brian Thomas. Let's talk a little Bill Belichick. Let's talk about all of it with Cecil Shorts next on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Mondays in the fall are made for talking football.
Let's talk football.
Football! Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Postgame Monday.
Let's talk football.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help, and I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
I got the perfect holiday gift for you. At the Blue Crab House, you spend $50, you get a $65 gift card. $50 and you get $65. Bam, the pressure's off. Located right off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road, open every day until 9, except for Monday. Get rid of the stress of holiday shopping right now at the Blue Crab House. Spend $50 and get a $65 gift card. Only at the Blue Crab House.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 12, 1965, Chicago Bears halfback Gale Sayers ties the NFL record for most touchdowns in a game with 6 in the Bears' victory over the 49ers.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
If your trip to the store turns into a trip to the emergency room, call Farah & Farah. We can help determine if a business is responsible for your slip and fall injuries and get you the justice you deserve. When you fall hard, we fight harder. Farah & Farah, Jacksonville.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
It's the end of the year sale with Universal Roof and Contracting. Get 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a $250 gift card for holiday shopping. With financing options as low as $150 a month, protecting your home's never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP, and this offer expires December 31st. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Nick in here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, you need to get screened for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about getting a colonoscopy. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. Borland Groover recently expanded into St. Johns County. The new and advanced surgery center and medical office is open in Durbin Crossing. Visit BorlandGroover.com for a location near you. Remember, 45 is the new 50. Get screened today with Borland Groover.
When mice and rats show up in your space, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so do we. Don't live with a rodent problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Jets come up this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL, a battle of 3-10 teams, although Jacksonville is coming off a victory last week in Nashville. And we got to talk about the biggest sports story going on right now. Bill Belichick, the brand new head coach at the University of North Carolina. That is wild. For all of it, let's talk to my buddy Cecil Shorts, former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver. You get him every week here on 1010XL. Cecil, how you doing, man?
I'm good, RG. How about yourself?
Cecil, we're good. We finally get to talk about a W, and I know it's obviously way too little too late, but for the guys in that locker room and the coaching staff, you could kind of tell a weight came off the shoulders last week with that win in Nashville.
Man, anytime you can get a W, especially when you've been piling up some losses, it just feels good, right? It reminds you how good that feeling is. And within the last, I think, 3 or 4 games, now it's about, can you stack it up and get another one, right? It's interesting because you're playing the Jets this week. And if you look at, if you go back to August, I don't think you would have circled this on your calendar and said, oh, these teams will both be 3-10 when they play each other in December.
No, there's no way you would have, particularly the Jets, I mean, with all the money they spent. So, and it's both a surprise for both teams. You know, Mac Jones, Cecil, is a story for the last month of the year, a guy looking to rejuvenate his career. I don't think he was spectacular last week, although I thought in the second half he was pretty good.
He showed some signs of life. I think he is a guy that, with time, can do some things. You still have 2 turnovers, right? One of them, I think it looks like Brian Thomas. I don't know if he ran the wrong route or was expecting him to run break sooner or something on the first interception, but you can't have the turnovers, right? But I think he did what he had to do to win the game. And I'm liking what I see from him. He's not scared to run out of the pocket, make plays with his feet, made some good throws to BTJ. So I like what I'm seeing. He's got to continue to work and really progress if he wants to be a starting quarterback down the line again, right? He really got to put some more points on the board. But last week, I would say he was decent for sure.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, I want to get to Brian Thomas in a moment. Before we get there, last week there were 22 carries for Jaguar tailbacks. Tank Bigsby had 18 of those 22 carries. What do you make of that?
I'm not sure. I think if you look at Travis Etienne, he only had 8 touches the entire game. 4 carries, 4 catches. So when you look at that share, I think they like Tank more for what that game was bringing. But why aren't you using your playmakers? Travis is a playmaker regardless. So even if you're going to use him more in a passing sense or on passing downs or whatever the case may be, get him more touches than just 8. If you really want to win and put points on the board, your playmakers need the ball. Great job feeding BTJ, 12 targets, 8 catches, but you got to do the same thing with all your weapons on the field, not just a few.
Okay, I thought Etienne out of the backfield in the passing game, as you mentioned, was great. 4 catches for 50 yards. You can't complain about that, but I did think it was interesting that he only got 4 carries and Tank Bigsby got the other 18. That brings me to Brian Thomas, and there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about Brian Thomas. Obviously, you being a former NFL wide receiver, you can relate to this world. Had 0 catches in the first half. and then takes the game over in the second half. Finishes 8 catches for 86 yards. We haven't seen something like that around here, Cecil, in a while. A guy that just basically took the game over at the wide receiver position.
He's special. And me and you talked about this from the beginning of the season. And again, I thought it would take a little bit more time. He started taking over extremely early, but he is the number one receiver. He is the best playmaker at the receiving position by far. He's one of the better playmakers in the AFC South and in the NFL. He is that special. And the plays he made, the way he was getting open, the tough catches, it was fun to watch. And that's something we're going to see for a long time in the Jacksonville uniform, I hope. But he is something very special brewing in Jacksonville. And it's good to not only get a win, but to have your first-round pick really pan out, really start to really show hey, I was worthy of the first-round pick. And he's playing at a high level. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. But don't wait till the second half to get him going. like start early on. Again, I talked about Travis only getting 8 touches, 4 rushing, 4 for the receiving game. But when it comes to BTJ, get him going early. Like, don't wait till the second half. We know how good he is. You've seen it in camp. You've seen it throughout this season. Get him going early with his hitches, slants, screens. And then as you progress, it doesn't have to be like just all in one bunch. You can spread out throughout the game, and maybe you can put some more points on the board. But he's a special athlete and receiver.
I don't exactly know what the verbiage is to call it, but your former position, wide receiver, the good ones, the great ones can have that swagger, right? That moxie, that, dare I call it, arrogance a little bit. And look, Brian Thomas Jr. is a young, quiet rookie. He doesn't talk a whole lot. He lets his talking on the field speak for himself. But he's mixed it up with Jalen Ramsey a little bit this year. We've seen that attitude. And earlier this week, he was asked about preparing for Sauce Gardner, who's obviously a defensive back with the New York Jets. And it wasn't a big statement. He kind of said it, under his breath a little bit. He didn't make a big deal out of it. But he essentially said, well, I feel like people have to prepare for me. Cecil, I loved that. You're starting to see a little of that swagger, that NFL wide receiver moxie from Brian Thomas Jr.
Yes, and I would use the word confidence. I think he's extremely confident in his ability. I think he knows he's a dude. I think he knows that, like the kids say, he knows he's him. So he's right. You can't just prepare for the Jets. The Jets got to prepare for him. Like, his name is going to be up on the screen Wednesday. Like, hey, this guy is a playmaker. We must figure out a way to stop him, right? And the challenge is going to be on Sauce and those guys over there. But I love that from receiver. That's what you want from your number one guy. Like, hey, I know I'm a dude. And the good thing about him, he's quiet with it. Like, it's not going to be a distraction. It's not going to be all in your face, which is fun sometimes overwhelming. It's just, hey, I know I'm that guy. Just give me the ball. They got to prepare for me. When I go out there, I don't care who is out there. They got to deal with me. Every single play, every single down. We saw that early on from, I want to say, week 1 or 2 against Miami. In Miami, he was all in Jalen's face like, ooh, you got lucky I didn't get that one. It's just the confidence you love from a young guy that's only going to grow and grow and grow. Again, he's a special guy. That's what you want as a number one receiver.
A couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Short. Cecil, it's been a quandary for Jaguar fans this week. Me personally, the win last week was nice, but I immediately thought to the draft position the Jaguars lost. And I think a lot of fans here, and obviously players don't care about that, and I know coaches don't care about that, but we're talking to the fans. But the vibe I've gotten is that fans don't really care about the draft positioning necessarily because they'll figure out a way to screw it up in their opinion anyway. The Jaguars will. They have not had a lot of success in the top 10, certainly. Their bigger issue is, all right, I want to see the Jaguars win, but what if wins mean good things for Baalke and Peterson's futures here in Jacksonville, right? So what do you say to the fan base that are kind of wrestling with that over the next month of the year? Because keep in mind, the next 3 opponents the Jaguars have are a combined record of 8-31. It's not far-fetched to think they could run the table and win 3 in a row here.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry about that. I think the resume that Baalke and Peterson put together will not be overlooked because they won the last 3 or 4 games. Like, you know what I mean? The resume is the resume. When you had your team primed and ready at the beginning of the season, everybody's talking about this one of the best Jaguar rosters ever put together, and you didn't deliver week after week after week after week after week after week. I don't think you can overlook that part. Just because you finished strong don't mean change won't happen, right? So I wouldn't dive too deep into that. I would just be happy my team is winning. I would express, and of course, everybody wants to win, no matter who is against or when is it. You want to win, but I wouldn't think I would worry about that if I'm a Jaguars fan. The resume is the resume. It's no offense to Baalke or Peterson, but this haven't been a good couple of years. So if change is going to be made, it's not going to be a big difference if they win the last 3 or 4 games, right? Their resume is what their resume says, so I'll just leave it at that.
I want to talk to you about Bill Belichick as we wrap up. Final thought on the Jaguars, and let's talk about the Jets for a moment. 3-10, right? Obviously one of the biggest disappointments in the league, but that is still Aaron Rodgers, right? That is still Devontae Adams. That is still Garrett Wilson. I mean, they have a ton of talent on that offense. It's going to be a big challenge for the young Jaguar DBs on Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. And you got Breece Hall as well, and it's just an interesting dynamic in New York. Not sure. I have an idea why they struggled, but Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron, even though he's not the prime Aaron Rodgers. He's still a good player. He threw up good yards last week. He gets the ball to his targets. But Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, they're in their prime still, especially Devontae. He's still in his prime, even though he's a little older. And Garrett is just beginning, what's his third year in the league. These guys can play for sure. So you got to make sure you're on top of your keys as a DB. As far as linebackers, man, Breece Hall is the real deal. So you got to make sure outside the backfield outside the box and in the box, like he can tote the ball in between the tackles. He can catch outside. He can line up a receiver. He can do a multitude of things. So it's going to be a challenge for the defense for sure, especially with the Jacksonville Jaguars playing a lot of man coverage. It's going to be tough. They got to be good on their keys. And when the ball's there, they have to fight to get that ball out because these receivers and running backs and quarterbacks are very, very talented. So they got to be ready to go, man. It's going to be a good challenge.
Who do you think wins the game on Sunday?
Oh, it's in Jacksonville, correct?
It is, yep.
I would probably give the nod to the Jets just because they have a ton of weapons. And I'm not sure the Jacksonville Jaguars have enough to stop it. I think it's a close game, but I'm not sure they have enough to stop Aaron Rodgers and company.
3-10 Jaguars and the 3-10 Jets Sunday at 1:00. Final moments with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. All right, Cecil, I have no doubt you competed against this man many times during your 7-year NFL career. Bill Belichick, a 6-time Super Bowl champion, arguably the greatest head coach that's ever lived. Only, a handful of wins behind Don Shula for the most wins in NFL history, is now the brand new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. I mean, that is bizarre to say the least, to say that. What's your reaction to this? Because it's just wild to me.
Never thought I'd see the day. I think it's the new college football. I think it's exciting for college football. I think it's exciting for Bill Belichick, a new challenge. I'm interested to see how it goes because I think he, in this new college football era, he can make this work. I think his name alone will bring recruits in. His pitch the other day on the Pat McAfee show where he talked about it's going to be basically a structure set up for an NFL pipeline. That's a recruiting tool right there. Kids that have interest in trying to make the league or just maybe hopes of playing for a high-level coach, learning the techniques of the structure of how things go. I think he's going to have a lot of success, honestly. I do. His biggest challenge will be the same way he communicates with the NFL guy who are grown. You can't do that with 18, 19, early on kids, right? So I'm interested to see how he dials back just a tad bit. You got to have structure. You got to have discipline. You got to have accountability, no doubt about it. But a lot of the rumbles that came out of New England where it wasn't fun to be there, that he called, Tom Brady out in front of everybody multiple times. Tom Brady can handle it. Those NFL players can handle that. Can the college kid handle that? You know what I mean? Can they handle that? And then there's something they can grow to, right? But I'm excited for it. I'm really, really excited to see. You got Deion Sanders doing well in Colorado. Now you got Bill Belichick. Two totally different personalities, different styles. But Bill Belichick brings more of a coaching resume, one of the best coaches, if not the best coach ever, to college. Like, that's exciting to see. Like, if my son was coming out, I would, and they offered him, I would want him to go to North Carolina just because his resume alone. He's going to know the game of football, help him turn into really good men. So I'm just excited about the new landscape.
Cecil, final question. You mentioned Deion Sanders. Obviously, Colorado swung for the fence on that one, and it's worked for them. Now North Carolina with Bill Belichick. They're swinging for the fence. Odds are it's probably going to work for them. I mean, is this the new norm? You know, teams like Colorado, North Carolina, considered to be middle-of-the-pack teams in their own conferences. If these things continue to work, are we going to see more big-name guys get some of these jobs?
I think so. And I think especially if you're trying to compete to get in the playoff, right? I think you're going to see bigger splashes because now it's the NIL. Now, I hate to put it this way, it's more of a business, right? It's not necessarily college football. So if a player coming out, for example, Bryce Underwood, I think his name is, he was committed to LSU. The next thing you know, Michigan was like, hey, we'll give you more money than we can. Boom, guess what? He committed his, he just transferred and went to, or decided to go, sign with Michigan. Or even with the transfer portal, right? If I'm going to a big time school and not playing, guess what? I can go maybe somewhere else and get some playing time. Or if I'm at a smaller school, maybe I've been overlooked. Maybe I'm more prepared now for the big limelight. Now I can, get recruited by a Deion or a Bill Belichick, and they can bring me in, and then I'm playing right away. So I think it is becoming more of the norm. I think it's becoming this new college football. I just truly do. With the portal and the NIL, things are completely different. So I can see why this can be the new norm if it happens.
It's absolutely crazy that Bill Belichick will start his North Carolina career Saturday, August 30th against TCU. Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar, wide receiver, also a former Texan, and let's not forget the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Cecil, have a terrific weekend. We'll talk to you next week, pal.
Hey, sounds good, RG. Take care.
There you go. Cecil Shorts with us here on Hacker After Dark. Always appreciate his time. And, yeah, Bill Belichick's introductory press conference today up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Speaking of that, let's go to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Coming up next, David Sisk, Tar Heels Illustrated. That is the Rivals.com website that covers North Carolina. We'll kind of get a lay of the land. What are they talking about in Chapel Hill basketball school, right? And you always hear that. Well, Bill Belichick has arrived on campus, which, again, is just bizarre world to me. So we'll kind of talk about the scene up there in Chapel Hill, what the fan base is saying, what the expectation is for Bill Belichick as he arrives as the head football coach at North Carolina. Quickly, we mentioned the Week 15 NFL opener tonight, San Francisco and the Rams. 49ers drove down, put a field goal on the board. The Rams failed to score on their opening drive. San Francisco 3, LA nothing. About 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. We will keep you updated. To Chapel Hill we go. David Sisk, Tar Heels Illustrated, talking Bill Belichick and North Carolina. That's next on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's more than just filling the stat sheet. It's the guy who makes the universal difference.
Breaks free, cuts back, and grabs a man for a touchdown.
The Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. This is the absolute last weekend. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 Balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Deck the halls with pipes a-leaking, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Oh no! Don't let plumbing ruin your season, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Let's go!
Uh-oh. Got a clog or a leak messing with your holiday cheer? Call Duck Duck Rooter. We're the reindeer of repairs. Fast, reliable, and ready to slay your plumbing problems.
Fa-la-la-la-la-la-la, hooray!
904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. We're flushing your worries away this holiday season.
For your chance to win 4-day weekend general admission passes for Welcome to Rockville Festival in Daytona Beach, May 15th to 18th, text the word ROCK to the 1010XL text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
You have healing power. Even writing a letter or volunteering can help heal a veteran. Find out more at healvets.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
Hope Haven believes in children and youth with special needs and abilities and has developed programs to help ensure their success. Find out more about their employment services and internship program at hope-haven.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This holiday season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. With the purchase of a $75 gift card or more, guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes the perfect gift. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, Another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Well, clearly the biggest news in the world of sports is Bill Belichick, a 6-time Super Bowl champion, leaving the National Football League behind and going to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, as he is now the brand new head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Let's go to Chapel Hill. David Sisk for Tar Heel Illustrated, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. David, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
David, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, I can't even begin to imagine the excitement level in the North Carolina fan base about this. Let's just start right there. 24 hours removed. The press conference was earlier today. The reaction there to Bill Belichick being the brand new North Carolina head coach.
Well, I think obviously when it first came out, everybody thought it was a joke. When it first started breaking late last week, nobody could really believe that was going to happen. It was like, there's no way this is going to go through. And it really had some legs to it. And I think people expected it. I think one thing that's happened is from the initial time that it was the rumors started flying around, it wasn't like it happened overnight. So it wasn't like the rumor got hot Friday and he's a Tar Heel on Saturday. It was, they've had several days to really kind of process into this. So I think the shock value is probably not as high as what it would have been initially. I think North Carolina has not been relevant in football really in a long, long time. You know, they've had a few good years. Mac Brown really had them going in the late 90s, and you can go back. Dick Crum had a few good years in the 80s with famous Amos Lawrence and Lawrence Taylor and some of those guys. But that's been about it. So there's still I'll believe it when I see it as far as the football team being good. You're in and you're out consistently. You know, they've gone this route before. They brought in Butch Davis. And Butch Davis was younger. Butch Davis was successful, obviously. So there was that didn't really work at North Carolina. So I don't think it's a deal where everybody thinks this is a slam dunk. Hey, North Carolina's really getting ready to be good.
Well, the interesting thing, and look, we saw this out at Colorado with Deion Sanders. Colorado obviously swung for the fence, and it's really worked out for them, certainly. You look at North Carolina, again, David Sisk of Tar Heel Illustrated here with us. That's all anybody's talking about. I mean, ESPN, we have you on here tonight. I mean, any national, regional, or local show in this country is talking about North Carolina football right now. They were on Good Morning America this morning. Yeah. I mean, that to me, that publicity in and of itself is just invaluable.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know with the boosters if that's what they were looking at, because they were the ones that really, some of the power brokers on the Board of Regents, they were kind of ones that really got this done. And I don't know if that's what they were thinking about, but it's gone through my head. I thought about that this morning, actually, when we knew I was going to be on the show and trying to put some thoughts together, is that it really, you can see the attention that Deion Sanders brought to Colorado, and you can see how that's paid off in 2 years. So Belichick, as far as recruiting goes, I see today he's going to meet with 2 unsigned 4-stars. There were some guys going into the portal that have already went in. They've opted out and came back already. So, it's going to be an exciting I think it's definitely going to be an exciting thing as far as attention goes. And North Carolina is going to get plenty of it. And, when they take the field for the first time next, around Labor Day weekend, late August, early September, North Carolina is going to have more eyes on them on opening day than they ever had. There's no doubt about that.
A couple of more for David Sisk of Tar Heel Illustrated here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. What I loved what Bill Belichick said on the Pat McAfee show, I believe it was on Monday, is he's going to run this thing like an NFL organization, David. I mean, he's already brought in, I guess, Michael Lombardi to be his GM. And he talked about, if you want to be NFL ready, if you want to get ready to go to the National Football League, well, who's better to get you ready for the NFL than arguably the greatest coach of all time of the National Football League and Bill Belichick? That is going to be a powerful, powerful force for UNC to use there.
Well, it's weird, the whole Michael Lombardi thing. When I saw that he was named general manager, I really started to believe this thing was going to happen last Friday. And you're going to throw some big names around. I was on the road driving on a recruiting trip to go watch A.J. DeBanza. So, and Michael Lombardi comes on Mad Dog, and they interviewed him for about 10 minutes, and he had me convinced that this was going to happen in North Carolina. And really, he was the guy that did that just from listening to it. And then they named him the GM. So it's just weird how all that happens. But there's no doubt. And somebody told me today, he said, man, can you imagine a 72-year-old guy going in there recruiting? And I'm like, look, he's not going to recruit. And that's one thing Michael Lombardi said on the radio the other day was, look, he brought that up. And he said, look, Bill Belichick, his whole life, has really negotiated with players from a monetary standpoint. So basically, it's not going to be as much about building relationships and recruiting a guy for 3 or 4 years. It's really going to be like you go in there and maybe, I don't know, maybe this is hypothetical, but he just shoves an envelope across the table at you. It's got a price value on it because he said they know. I heard Lombardi say this. They know what the worth of each player is. I know this for a fact, even with Mac Brown. They do it with Hubert Davis. I know some guys on the collective over there. They know what the price value for NIL is on every football and basketball player in the country. And if you named a player, whether he was in the portal or not, let's say it was a player at Fresno State, they could look and tell you what his NIL value, what he would be worth to that program, and they know what each position, what it's worth, what they want to pay. So, they've already, from the previous administration, and I can imagine how thorough this one's going to be because that's the world they live in. They know down to the cent what each player's worth, what they want to spend. So, it'll be a science. There's no doubt about that.
Final moments, David Sisk of Tar Heel Illustrated. David, you alluded to this earlier. Why has football just seemingly not worked in Chapel Hill? They've had cups of coffee in the top 10, certainly, but you look, they're in the South. You look to their north.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, all right, but you know what I mean. You look to the north, right? Virginia Tech has been consistently in the top 10, at least with Frank Beamer. Obviously to the south with Georgia and Clemson. Obviously the Florida schools. You go a little bit west from North Carolina and Alabama, LSU. Why has football just not worked there in Chapel Hill for the most part?
Well, number one, it's not been an emphasis. It's a basketball school. The same reason football's not worked at Kentucky or Kansas or Duke. And secondly, it has North Carolina is the Berkeley of Southeast. It's South in name only. You've had Florida knows all about this. You have an influx of people from other areas. But the Research Triangle, I would say people that were born in the state of North Carolina in a Research Triangle, I would say is probably under 30%.
Wow.
And it's not, so it's not, and you got to look at North Carolina University too. If you talk about, there's been talk about going into the SEC and things like that. You've heard all the conference realignment. They are not a fit for the SEC. It's a very liberal town, a very progressive town. It's the Berkeley of the Southeast. It really is. And even the individuals there, they've got an elitist, and I'm just telling you the truth, they've got an elitist tone to them. And even we're going through it with basketball right now and Belichick's probably a good shakeup because really he goes against everything that they've stood for, and they still believe that, we build a relationships. We're North Carolina, and we don't care if somebody offers you $500,000. We'll offer you $50,000 because you're North Carolina. We're North Carolina, so you're going to take it. And that stuff doesn't work. They're learning that in basketball. And so there's not been the emphasis there, and it's not really a fit. It's not been a fit for football, because football is a more it's a state, really. It's a more popular sport, I guess you could call it, to be fair about it. And so now they've decided that they want to go that route. I think they've seen the money that's involved in football. And look, if you're going to get out of the ACC, and the Big Ten's going to come after you, or the SEC's going to come after you, the brands in football, they're not coming after basketball schools. The basketball's, it's great, but it does not cash checks. It's football. Football is what keeps everything else up. So they understand that, but there's been a power struggle. It's very the whole thing that's interesting to me at the University of North Carolina is there's going to be a power struggle between football and basketball. There already has been. They changed collectives. The collective money went away from basketball. It went more toward football this last year. That didn't pan out. Bubba Cunningham, they offered, as you've seen, they say that now that A.J. DeBanza got offered the same amount from North Carolina and Alabama that he did from BYU. And the Board of Regents did not like that at all, that they were offering a basketball player that much money when they're getting ready to put all this into football. So there's going to be a power struggle there with basketball and football. There's going to be a power struggle with NIL and with how money is deviated out, because they're making a huge financial investment in football here. That is the interesting thing to me, is how that will work out, but how it'll affect basketball. It's intriguing to me. There's going to be a huge dynamic there.
No, I love that perspective. No question. I had no idea there was the issues up there. David, final question.
I'll say this. And Let me say, a lot of people don't realize this, and I was told this yesterday by somebody that knows. The entire basketball budget at the University of North Carolina is about 45% of what Kentucky is.
Wow.
It's less than half. Mm-hmm. You're talking roughly $22 million to $10 million. So they've not invested, and that's one thing about football too. That's why they've really not invested in either sport. So basketball's really done well, but people don't understand they do not invest in that program the way a lot of the others do.
Well, David, while we have you here, final question, about 90 seconds to go. Speaking of Carolina basketball, I got to ask you, pretty big one with the Gators coming up in about a week, right? They're in Charlotte, Florida, undefeated, 9-0. Florida has Arizona State Saturday, and then they go play North Carolina up in Charlotte. That should be a fun basketball game.
Yeah, it should, and I don't know what to expect. I was looking at Ken Palm last night, and I believe Florida's schedule-wise, strength of schedule, they're like 324th or somewhere around there out of 364. So, they've got a good record, obviously, but we don't know yet what they've got. And I think they've got an outstanding coach in Todd Golden. He had a really good team last year, really good offensively. And so I'm going to be excited to see that. North Carolina's down right now. They've struggled. The fan base is not happy, but they've played the fourth toughest schedule. So you wonder if, and this is not a knock on Florida, but sometimes, you play that schedule to see what you got. And then when you find out what you do have, it's not the answer you wanted. And so if they had Florida's schedule, who knows, they might be 8-1, 9-0 right now. So I think we already know about North Carolina. They're small in the backcourt. They're small in the front court. R.J. Davis has not shot the ball well. They're not shooting the ball well. They don't defend all that great. No rim protection. They're struggling. But I think we'll find out more about Florida in that game than we will about North Carolina, because we've already got a pretty good idea where North Carolina's at.
Should be fun. Of course, you'll hear that game right here on 1010XL Radio. David Sisk, Tar Heel Illustrated. David, I'm sure I'm about the 10th guy to call you today to have you on to talk about Bill Belichick.
You're the first one. No, you're the first one, actually. Andrew Jones over for it's our publisher. He calls it the football cave. That's where he's at. Now, I'll hear a lot about basketball, but I appreciate the offer on here.
Well, David, thank you as always, pal. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, the injured hamstring.
All it takes to spoil the dream is the tweak of a hamstring.
Boy, this is bad news.
Listen for the Farah and Farah injury update
On 1010XL, Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss from 317 pounds down over 110 pounds. Soon, I'll be starting the maintenance portion of Awaken 180, and I'll tell you all about that. You lose all the weight. Now it's about keeping it off, right? Well, Awaken 180 helps you with that, too. Not only do they help you lose the weight, they help you not regain the weight that you lost. It's a full deal, man. It's the best weight loss program I've ever been on. Obviously, the results speak for themselves from 317 to 205. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. If you need to lose weight like I did, take it from somebody that lost over 100 pounds on this program. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. They are life-changing. They are life-saving. I don't say that lightly. They probably saved my life. Go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
We heard you loud and clear, Jags fans, and we're taking it back to the 90s again. The Prowler throwback jerseys return to the field Sunday, December 15th, when your Jaguars take on the New York Jets. Be at the bank to see them in action while joining us for our Inspire Change game. To lock in your seats, head to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free, with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find a pop-up tent in the Rose parking lot on Beach Boulevard near Southside, and at Night of Wonders at the Orange Park Mall. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers and 2 convenient Florida Blue pop-up enrollment sites combined for a winning team in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival returns to the Daytona International Speedway in 2025 with Green Day, Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville takes over the Daytona International Speedway May 15th to the 18th, 2025. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. 4-day, single-day camping and VIP passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Cigar smokers, All-Pro Lyman Leon Searcy here for my favorite spot, Cigars International. The Cigars International Superstore is now open at the Town Center, a massive 6,200 square feet with over 600 cigar brands, a full-service bar, and indoor and outdoor lounges with flat-screen TVs. Give their old-fashioned a try. It's the best that I've ever had. Follow on social for holiday specials and events. Cigars International is now open at the Town Center.
Protect your home with Tyson Sound and Security. Denny Thompson here. Porch Pirates are on the prowl. But with their smart doorbell camera, you'll see who's at your door whether you're home or not. Tyson's smart doorbell camera gives you peace of mind detecting people and packages, keeping your family and belongings safe all season long. Call Tyson Sound and Security today for holiday savings on cameras and home security systems. Enjoy a worry-free holiday with Tyson Sound and Security.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Little past the halfway point on a Thursday night here on Hacker After Dark. We're with you till 10 o'clock on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour. Towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, Donovan Maslin, the head football coach at Raines High School. Raines is the last team standing in Northeast Florida. They will play for a 3A state championship on Saturday night against Miami Northwestern down in South Florida. And we will talk to the Raines Vikings head football coach Donovan Maslin coming up towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, Mark Wise of ESPN talking a little college basketball. The Florida Gators, for the first time since Billy Donovan, find themselves in the top 10. They are 9-0. They have destroyed the ACC this year with wins over Wake Forest, Florida State, and Virginia. Throw in a Wichita State win as well. Their schedule will get harder, beginning Saturday with a good Arizona State team. They play North Carolina and Charlotte next week. But for the here and now, undefeated, top 10 in America. And we'll talk not only Gator basketball, but the SEC. You know, it always has just meant more on the football field. All of a sudden you look and the SEC is the best basketball conference in America. And I'm not really sure it's close. They just did that SEC, ACC basketball challenge. You realize the SEC went 14-2 in that thing? 14-2. And ironically enough, the only 2 games they lost were maybe the 2 best SEC teams, Kentucky and Auburn. Every other school in the SEC, the other 14, beat their ACC counterparts. So the SEC is the best basketball conference in America right now. And where does Florida stand in that conference? We'll talk to Mark Wise about all that. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. Kind of a cool story tonight. Thursday night football. San Francisco leads the Rams 3-0. 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Big game in the NFC West, right? The Rams at 7-6. The 49ers at 6-7. Making his debut tonight for the 2024 season is 49er linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Remember him? Remember the injury in the Super Bowl where he came off the sideline, non-contact, went down, had to get carted off the field. We all watched it, obviously, last year in the Super Bowl. From then to now, 10 months it took Dre Greenlaw to get back. But he's making his debut tonight for the 49ers against the Rams, Thursday Night Football. San Francisco 3, LA nothing. 8 minutes to go in the first half. Quickly, Denmark, you mentioned this last night. You know, Bill Belichick to North Carolina, obviously the big story. You see the other two hires that are making headlines? Not as big, obviously. They're kind of getting buried. First off, Rich Rodriguez returns to Morgantown. Rich Rodriguez back to West Virginia. Don't say you can't go home again. Scott Frost going back to UCF, and now Rich Rodriguez, 15 years, I guess, after he left West Virginia, is now going back to West Virginia. And the other one is Dan Mullen, former Florida Gator. Dan Mullen is now the brand new head coach of the Running Rebs of UNLV. Denmark has a Gator alum, orange and blue blood flowing through your veins, and as the host of the award-winning Denmark and Marsh podcast here on 1010XL.com, I'm curious, Dan Mullen, now that he's back in coaching, Florida fans never forgave Jim McElwain. Even when he went to Central Michigan, Gator fans still just couldn't stand that guy. What about Mullen? Now, he was with ESPN for the last couple of years. Now he's getting back as a head coach with UNLV. Have Gator fans gotten over Dan Mullen? Is there a better feeling about him maybe than McElwain?
Oh, definitely better than McElwain. There's no respect for McElwain. I'd say if I had to speak for the fan base. Mullen, I mean, I don't know. Mullen's going to go to UNLV. He'll do well. He'll have a high-powered offense, and he'll be playing for conference championships. The one question I have really is, he didn't really have to deal with the NIL at Florida. It had just began. So I wonder what UNLV's NIL is like and how, he's going to deal with that.
Surprised
but
he
I
didn't
think
get
he'll
a
do
bigger.
pretty well over
He's surprised he didn't get a bigger job.
Yeah, because I felt like if he come out of coaching, it'd be at a Syracuse, UNC, a lower level Power 4 school. I didn't expect it to be at a Group of 5 school.
And nothing against UNLV, but it's UNLV. I mean, Dan Mullen had Mississippi State at one point in the top 5 in America. Had Mississippi State in the top 5 in America. 3 of his 4 Gator teams had 10 wins. Now, it ended pretty bad for Dan Mullen. I thought he did a good job as an ESPN analyst the last couple of years. But, yeah, I was just caught off guard that if you want to get back in coaching, which obviously he did, he wasn't even really given much of an option. I mean, UNLV was kind of the best option he had, and he took it. So we'll see what Dan Mullen does out there in Las Vegas with the Running Rebs of UNLV. Again, San Francisco up on the Rams, 3-0 midway through the second quarter. Rams have the ball. The Rams are actually driving at the 49 or 10-yard line, down 3-0. There's a timeout with 7:44 to go in the second quarter. Coming up next, Mark Wise of ESPN. Let's talk Todd Golden. Let's talk about this undefeated Gator basketball team. They're in the top 10 in America. And let's talk about the best conference in college basketball. It just means more. That only doesn't apply to the gridiron anymore. That applies to the hardwood. The SEC is the best conference in America. We'll talk about all of it with Mark Wise of ESPN. He joins me next on a Thursday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark. It's 1010XL and it's 92.5 FM.
It's the play that influenced the outcome.
Handoff inside, he sees it, now he goes and gets it. Nice play coming downhill.
Listen for the performance painting high performance play of the game on 1010XL. Performance painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm gonna keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. This is the absolute last weekend. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 12, 1965, Chicago Bears halfback Gale Sayers ties the NFL record for most touchdowns in a game with 6 in the Bears' victory over the 49ers.
Help fight skin cancer by playing golf at the Hit 'em Straight Golf Tournament December 30th at Queens Harbor for a day of food and fun while raising money for the Melanoma Research Foundation. To sign up, call 904-507-1401.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
The Army-Navy Game Watch Party, presented by the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department on some of the world's largest screens. With free parking, requesting $5 entry donation. Gates open at 2 for the Army-Navy Game Watch Party at Everbank Stadium.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Homemade cookies baked fresh by Jen. Original 80s band named Ice Creams by Ray. Build your own cookie ice cream sandwiches from scratch. Cookies and cream Jack's Beach. Open till 11 Friday and Saturday, 10 weekdays. Making our beach a better place. Cookies and cream Jack's Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. College basketball conference play is right around the corner once we get into the month of January. But right now, the story, at least in the state, is the Florida Gators. They are now in the top 10. They are perfect, undefeated, 9-0 team. First time they've been 9-0 in a long, long time as Todd Golden has things cooking down there in Gainesville. Let's talk Gator hoops. Let's look around the world of college basketball as well with a man that has forgotten more about the college game than I'll ever know. That's my friend Mark Wise of ESPN, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mark, how you doing?
Hacker, man, I'm doing great, but you keep saying that I have forgotten more basketball. I just want you to know I'm getting older and I'm forgetting more and more on my own. So you don't have to pile on.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'll remember that. But
No, all good, my friend.
One thing I haven't forgotten, Mark, is how good Florida basketball has been so far this year. They need to be in the ACC, right? They're 3-0 against the Atlantic Coast Conference with wins over Florida State, Wake Forest, and Virginia. Big picture talk in a moment, but for the here and now, 9-0, are you surprised Florida has been this good to this point, or did you expect this?
Well, I think anytime you're undefeated, going into the second week of December or in the second week of December, there's only 8 unbeatens left in the country. So if you're in that group, it's impressive. I don't think Florida's played as tough a schedule non-conference as some other teams in the league, but nonetheless, they've got 2 big-time games coming up with Arizona State and North Carolina. But that being said, you're one of those 8 unbeatens. As a matter of fact, of the 8 unbeatens, 3 are SEC teams. So I know we're going to morph into league talk in a minute, but if it wasn't for a guy by the name of Janai Broome, Walter Clayton would be a Player of the Year candidate, and he still will be. But Janai Broome's on. I mean, it's almost hopefully everybody stays healthy for every team this year. But Janai Broome is by far the leader in the December clubhouse in terms of Player of the Year. What has really improved for Florida? Their offense has gotten a little better from last year to this year. Their defense has gotten a lot better. I credit a lot of that to Elijah Martin. He brings a toughness, a perimeter defender that Florida has not had on the perimeter in the last 3 or 4 years. And because of that, when you win the arc, when you win the free throw line, good things usually happen. And Florida, 9 games in, have done both of those extremely well.
Mark Wise of ESPN. Mark, I'm going to take my orange and blue goggles off here for a minute. I'm going to be as objective as I can. Is there at least a conversation to be had that for the here and now, this point of the year, that Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin is one of the best backcourts in America?
I don't think there's any question about it. They have to be in any conversation about that. They're 1-2 in scoring. We talk about the offense and the defense. Well, Clayton brings the offensive expertise and Martin brings the defensive expertise. They both log a lot of minutes in terms of 30-plus minutes. They can handle that. I think Todd Golden has settled on basically an 8-man rotation. Denzel Aberdeen comes off the bench in terms of perimeter play and has given them some quality minutes and has given them a couple of double-figure games. So I like where they are in terms of rotation. They still play the 4 bigs for the 2 spots, much like they did a year ago. Todd Golden likes that system. So when you get great perimeter play and complement that with good front court play, good things will happen. And they're doing all this with Will Richard, who I've said on air has become a much better all-around player. His three-point shooting has suffered maybe in the process. He's around 25%, I think. That's only going to go up. So, you can't talk about Florida without talking about the league. And what I mean by that is we'll see when league play starts, because I got to tell you, Ackerman, you might be 9-9 at the end of the year in the SEC and be ranked 23rd in the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good this league is this year.
We'll get to the league in one moment. Final Gator-related question. You mentioned the 8-man rotation, sometimes 9, but usually 8. You know, I remember the days of Billy Donovan. He would play 10 or 11 guys, right? I mean,
Right.
are they deep enough? Knock on wood, if injuries don't occur. I mean, if injuries occur, then, you know, who knows? But if they're healthy, are they deep enough?
Well, it's a different style of play because Donovan liked to press. And so you would play more people pressing. This is not a pick-up 94 feet team. They're not wired that way, built that way, I don't think. So I think you can get away with an 8-9 man rotation, but as you mentioned, you have to stay healthy.
Mark Wise of ESPN. All right, to the conference. Not a lot of things really catch you off guard, but this whole SEC, ACC invitational deal that they did last week, the SEC went 14-2 against the ACC. And the ironic part about it, the two SEC losses were their two highest ranked teams, right? Kentucky and Auburn, which was interesting.
Yeah, I got to say, everybody wants to talk about that. They were also at ranked teams on the road.
Yeah.
In terms of Clemson and Duke. So the Auburn-Duke game was really good. The Kentucky-Clemson game was really good. You're not going to win all those all the time. Kentucky goes on the road after that and wins in Seattle against Gonzaga, who I think is really good. So, yeah, I mean, the thing that surprised me the most, I mean, yeah, the outcome, the 14-2, that's a little bit of a surprise, was the margin of victory. I mean, I think the SEC average margin of victory was over 15 points a game. I mean, a lot of these games weren't close. I mean, Vanderbilt, who's one of the surprise teams in the league, I had their game at Virginia Tech. They win by 16. Mississippi State waxed Pittsburgh. You can go right down the list. South Carolina, who oddly enough has the worst record in the league at 6-3, and I think that speaks volumes. They go to Boston College and get a great win. So the league is, and I don't care how you define, how you want to measure the league, whether you're talking about the AP where they have 5 in the top 10 or 9 in the top 25. Ken Palm has the SEC 5 in the top 10. The net rankings, which I'm not putting a lot of stock in right now, 5 in the top 10. The league is really the best conference in the league in the country, and it's not close right now.
Mark, as you know, it just means more in the SEC, right? But normally that's on the gridiron, right? Normally that's on Saturdays in the fall. What happened? How has the Southeastern Conference all of a sudden become the best basketball conference in the country?
I think it's a great question. The answer, I think, lies in several prongs. One is the collection of coaches in this conference are just off the chart good. Whether you're talking about Bruce Pearl, whether you're talking about Porter Moser at Oklahoma, who took Loyola Chicago to the Final Four, whether you're talking about Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, who took JMU to a 34-2 record last year, beat Michigan State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And I can go right on down the list. I mean, Mark Pope, what he has done at Kentucky here early on with their major facelift in terms of a stylistic kind of play. The coaching is second to none. Then the acquisition of talent. And I'm going to say acquisition, and you leave it, I'll leave it up to you to define that, whether we're talking about resources, the transfer portal, NIL, all those things go together, recruiting freshmen. The acquisition of talent has been, again, off the charts. So you've got great coaching and great talent, and right now they've got great results.
A couple more from Mark Wise of ESPN. And this is hard, obviously, because most teams have played less than 10 games, but that's why Mark gets paid the big bucks as a college basketball analyst. So I'm going to ask him, where would you put Florida right now in the pantheon of teams in the SEC?
That's a really good question. I'd like to answer. I'd like for you to ask me that after the next 2 games. Arizona State is much better than people think. Bobby Hurley took his team to Duke for an exhibition and got waxed. They've reaped the benefits of that, much like Brad Underwood took Illinois to Ole Miss in an exhibition. I actually had that game, and they got waxed, and I think they're ranked in the top 20 right now. So Arizona State and North Carolina are going to be really good barometers. In North Carolina, they play in Charlotte at a neutral, quote-unquote, site. It'll be anything but that. I think they're in the mix. I want to see if they can score at the rim. I think they'll be fine perimeter transition. Can they score at the rim against these bigger, better teams? That's a question mark for me. But I think, as we all know, the NCAA tournament is driven by matchups and good guard play. Well, we won't know about the matchups until March, but I can tell you right now, if Florida's healthy entering March, the guard play will be as good as anybody in the country.
You know, you're close to that program, Mark. You've obviously done a lot of work with the University of Florida in the past. It's amazing the turnaround. With Golden, you know, not so much the turnaround because he's been there a very short amount of time, but people weren't exactly thrilled at what transpired right when he got the job. And then with Billy Napier, it's absolutely incredible, the turnaround he had on football on Saturdays there in the last 2 months. I mean, how do you assess these turnarounds for both of these head coaches down there in Gainesville?
Well, I think Golden's has been a year to year, trying to get better each year. I don't know, and you've asked a basketball guy a football question, so I'll answer it this way. Is there any football team, and this will sound like I'm living in Gainesville, blah, 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 but is there any team in the country, football team in the country that got better from game 1 to game 12 more than Florida did?
I think you could really make that argument, absolutely.
So, again, there are two different kinds of turnarounds because I think Golden's was more building the program year to year, where Napier's, in terms of what went on this year, was very specific to 2024. So, you know, it's always good when your flagship sports, with all due respect to all sports, but when they're doing well, it seems like everybody flows a little easier.
All right, Mark, as we wrap up nationally, if you want to take it outside the SEC, what's the thought as we enter conference play coming up? In fact, I think the Big Ten's already started conference play, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
The big
ACC as well.
Yeah,
yes.
ACC as well. So kind of where are we nationally, the top 2 or 3 teams as we head into Christmas?
Well, you know, it depends on which team gets upset. I know people dropped Auburn from the top spot because they lost at Duke. Are you kidding me? I mean, their body of work, who they've played, who they've beaten, they've got the best collection of wins, I think. I would have kept them on. Everybody tends to, okay, if you get beat, no matter where, against who, we need to drop you a little bit. Tennessee, Chaz Lanier is one of the surprises to me. He's been able to play up, quote unquote, the transfer from North Florida. He's kind of filling the void of Dalton Connect. I think, and again, the SEC, if you say, okay, I know there's a thing out there that the NCAA tournament winner, the last ever how many years, on December 6th, were all in the top 12 of the AP poll. Well, Florida's in that mix. But so is Tennessee, so is Auburn, so is Alabama. Alabama has to deal with the injury to Wright's-on, and I have them in about 10 days. So I'm anxious to see how they do that. They've got enough bodies on the perimeter. I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but they will miss his kind of voice on the floor. I got to tell you, outside the box, when you ask me about nationally what's going on, I think one of the best stories going on is what's going on at Drake. Drake gave Vanderbilt their only loss of the season in the finals of the Charleston Classic. Drake is one of the 8 undefeateds left in the country. Why is this such a good story? Because they have a new head coach, Ben McCullum. Remember that DeVries went to West Virginia and took his son. Ben McCullum was 15 years at Northwest Missouri State, which was a Division II power, and he has 4 starters from that Division II team who start at Drake.
Wow.
One of the 8 undefeateds. How is that not being talked about more? I think it's one of the best stories we've got going right now in college basketball.
No, I like that. And that's why we have Mark Wise on. I would have never known that, but that's a cool story, and I will certainly take note of that now. Mark, where do your travels have you going? I know you're usually all over the Southeast this time of year. Where can we catch you on TV?
Yeah. I've got the week off, so I'm going to watch volleyball in Louisville tomorrow. And then next week I go to Vanderbilt and Alabama. So both on the SEC network, Wednesday and Sunday, I believe. Then it's Christmas. And I've got my first 3 assignments in January for the league. So I open up at Mississippi State and then go to Oklahoma and then go to Missouri. And Missouri is another surprise team who just beat Kansas and beat them shorthanded without Caleb Grill. So I just think this league is just going to be, it's going to be one of those leagues that the winner might have 4 or 5 losses just because of how good it is.
He is a busy man this time of year. He's always kind enough to take time out for us. Mark Wise of ESPN. Mark, a very happy holidays to you and your family, and we'll talk again in the month of January, my friend.
Friend, have a great holiday season, and I'll see you in the new year.
Make Friday feel like the weekend. We're wasting time. That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday. Let's do it. Come on. We'll get you ready for the games. Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a septic tank emergency.
Don't let your holidays go down the drain. Duck Rooter's here to save your Christmas cheer. Whether it's a stubborn clog, a burst pipe, or a septic scare, we'll fix it faster than Santa can slide down a chimney. Duck Rooter. Call us now and save the day. 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, because nobody wants a silent night in the bathroom.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees, and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Bowl season brings the holiday feeling.
Deck the halls, deck the halls.
When you play 1010XL's Ultimate Bowl Challenge, you've got the chance to win $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Log on to 1010XL.com and start picking.
Googa Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The high school football season for us really began with High School Media Day back on August the 1st. And in Northeast Florida, golly, we had 50 or 60 programs that showed up that day. And here we are now coming into the middle part of December, and there's one left. The Rains Vikings are holding the torch for Northeast Florida as they will play for a state championship this upcoming week, taking on Miami Northwestern. The head coach of the Rains Vikings is Donovan Maslin, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
We're doing pretty good, in great spirits, great mood, and, just thankful and blessed.
Coach, last week, state semifinals, there was a lot of conversations from the opposing team coming in here, Sarasota Booker. And look, at halftime, it wasn't looking too good, right? Booker was up 23-14. But man alive, you guys really got your defense going in the second half. You found enough offense to win the game. Take us through the emotions coming back from that halftime deficit to win that game.
At halftime, I told the guys, we the ones, put ourselves in this situation with the mistakes that we made and recreated. We fumbled on the 1 yard line, and we missed some opportunities when, we were able to get down into the red zone and not capitalize, coming out with points. So we just had to, maintain and continue to do what we were doing. We knew what, they tried to blitz us on third down and, try to suffocate our offensive line. But we was able to, make some adjustments in the second half defensively. We knew, coming in that they had athletes on both sides of the ball that we had to make sure that we identified, and the kids stayed true to it. And, I told them one play at a time that, we can't get it all back in one play. Just go one play at a time, can't get it all back at once. And, just continue to come together. Don't separate. Don't spaz out. Just stay level-headed. And, I say the last thing I asked them were, are you ready to turn it in? And, they say, Coach, we're not ready to turn it in. And they just came out and proved it.
It was an interesting strategy from Sarasota Booker because obviously they were doing some talking leading up to the game, and for whatever reason, they thought they could intimidate you guys in the graveyard on a Friday night, and that obviously did not work out too well for them. Obviously some off-the-field stuff that happened. There were some ejections. We don't like to see that, but what did you think of your guys responding to what Booker was doing? I mean, obviously you like the response.
I definitely like the response. One thing about this group of kids, they're not going to back down from anybody. They've been battle tested. They understand what it means to stand 10 toes down and represent, that Reigns brand. And, they show what it means to be a real Viking. Nobody's going to, put fear in us. We're always going to come together and be strong as one unit. We was definitely represented Friday night in Zone 5. And, one thing you're not going to do is come in the graveyard and, try to talk your way into a win. You have to prove yourself inside that rectangle. So, the kids came out and, like we normally do, run down our sideline, and, they decided to come over to us. And so, at the end of the day, like I told the kids, we have to make sure that we play and do what we need to do inside the rectangle. All of the other antics, that's fine and good, but, the most important thing is to come out with the win. And, they kept their composure throughout the game. I told them they were going to do extra stuff before and after the whistle. Don't react to it. So that was the most important thing that I was proud of those of the kids of staying grounded, staying motivated, and most importantly, not feeding into what they were trying to do.
Donovan Maslin, the head coach of Reigns, they are going to the state championship game coming up this week against Miami Northwestern. Coach, I want to get into that game in one moment. Before we do, as I've mentioned at the top, you guys are the last team remaining from Northeast Florida. It's been a good year in the area, certainly. A lot of really good teams, but you guys are all that's left. What does that mean to be the last team standing, the last team having a shot for a state championship in our area?
It means we're just thankful. We're blessed. We're prepared and ready for the opportunity. We know it's a state representing Northeast Florida, and we just want to go down and prove that the Northeast quadrant of Jacksonville and just the North Florida part. We can compete with anybody in the state, and we want to make sure that we go down and represent the city of Jacksonville very well. We're going to go down there with preparation, to take advantage of an opportunity that's in front of us. The kids are motivated, they're excited, they're determined. Just being, one of the last teams remaining when you talk about it in the spring, of a 15-game season. What does it look like and how do you prepare for it? And, we were strategic in how we prepared our kids throughout the spring and the summertime and then going into fall camp. So the mentality, the mindset was challenged, week in and week out, even in downtime. When they were away from the school and when they were away from football, what are you doing to continue to try to be a champion? And, we approached every day like with the championship mindset. And, they just continue to work, continue to chop. And, we're here at this moment. So, I'm excited, for the city of Jacksonville, to go down and, compete in the state championship game. It's been since 2018 and, it's been long overdue. And I'm just, proud of the program, continuing a winning legacy of getting back to the state championship game. And, we're not done. We're not satisfied. We're not content. We're always going to continue to be hungry, humble, and ready to work.
Coach, as we begin to wrap up, Miami Northwestern in the state championship game on, I believe, the 14th. So that's coming up here at the end of the week, 7:30 kickoff. What do we know about Miami Northwestern?
Miami Northwestern, they're a talented team on both sides of the football. They offensively, they can do a lot of condensed formations to, try to see if you're in man or zone and, get your eyes in the backfield. Defensively, they have some good talent, in the trenches and linebackers and in the secondary. They fly around, they pursue to the football. I believe the teams that we've played throughout this season, with Bowles, with Riverside, and Creekside, those teams got us prepared for moments like this. Sarasota Booker as well. They were talented. They had athletes. And I think the mental aspect of the game, early in the season prepared us for this moment. So, the kids had, it's not like our kids haven't seen athletes that can play. They've seen athletes that can run, that can block, they have size. So we've been prepared for the athletes and, the scheme that we're going to see come Saturday. And, we just have to go out there and execute and, understand how to, ride the wave of the emotions of the game. And, once everything's settled down now, going to playing football, just survive the initial wave of the emotion of the game. And once it's settled down, just continue to go play like you've been playing all year. And, if we do that, I think we'll be successful.
Donovan Maslin of Reigns, Saturday night, Reigns and Miami Northwestern for the Class 3A state championship. Coach, what's the plan? When are you guys heading down? Obviously, it's a considerable trip for you guys compared to what Miami Northwestern's going to have to do. What's the plan? Tell people what the itinerary looks like.
We're going to go down Friday. Take a nice little drive, eat lunch about halfway through. And once we get there, we're going to stay in Fort Lauderdale. And we're trying to get in talks with some schools in the area about doing a walkthrough in that area, in the Fort Lauderdale area. So, do a walkthrough on Friday and, just kind of relax and eat dinner and then relax at the hotel. We allow the families to come and see their son. Just like a college feel, the hotel, they can relax in the lobby. And then, it's a Friday night, it's lights out, no cell phones. It's just you and your teammates in the room and you visualizing yourself making plays in the state game. And then Saturday morning, we'll get up, eat breakfast, have team meetings, and then, kind of relax throughout the day and then get ready for pregame meal and, get ready for kickoff.
It'll be something else. The Class 3A state championship Saturday night down in South Florida, Pitbull Stadium. It's Miami Northwestern and Jacksonville Reigns. Donovan Maslin of the Reigns Vikings. Coach, congratulations on a terrific year to this point. Go down there and bring home a state championship to Duval County.
Thank you, Mr. Hacker. We appreciate you for all you do, all your coverage all season of high school sports in the area. Your work doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate you.
And said football coach.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to Reigns head football coach Donovan Maslin for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. And best of luck to the Vikings as they will head down tomorrow to South Florida to get ready for Saturday night, the Class 3A state championship game, Reigns and Miami Northwestern, as Reigns looks to bring back another state title here to Duval County. And they're the last hope, right? They're the last team in the area standing, playing for that 3A state championship. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been an unbelievably busy Thursday night edition here on Hacker After Dark. We've talked about a lot of stuff, man, from high school football with Reigns going for a state championship to the Bill Belichick hire at North Carolina. Obviously spent some time on the Jaguars and in the world of college basketball as you look now, the Florida Gators, 9-0 for the first time in a decade, ranked in the AP top 10 as they have a couple of big ones coming up against Arizona State and North Carolina. We have a ton of people to thank for tonight's show. Again, Donovan Maslin, the head coach of Reigns. Thank you to Mark Wise of ESPN. Mark is our college basketball guy here on Hacker After Dark, and we always appreciate Mark taking time out for us here on 1010XL. We did go to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Back in the 8 o'clock hour, David Sisk, Tar Heel Illustrated, joined us to give us a vibe on the ground in Chapel Hill of just what it's like now that Bill Belichick is the brand new head football coach. That's still wild to say. The brand new head football coach at the University of North Carolina. And back in hour number one, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark, talking Jags, Jets, talking Brian Thomas. And, of course, we also spent some time with Cecil on the Bill Belichick situation. That'll just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Thursday night here on Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark has been your producer this evening. Dylan, thank you as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. Now, Jacksonville, we will be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week, and we will do it all over again here on 1010XL beginning at 8 o'clock. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Friday, again beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.